Hello everyone. So we already started about the why do we fall ill, and this one lecture I will deliver through recorded form. Due to some reason I am unavailable for online, and that's why I try to record this lecture for you only. If you have any doubts, then please send messages to me. I will clear up all the concepts. So thank you everyone. Now we have already studied about why do we fall ill. Some basic concepts we have already studied. What are these concepts? First we studied what is meant by disease, what is meant by health, the definition of health made by the WHO. That is, it is a complete physical, mental and the physiological or psychological, that kind of fulfillness, that is called as the health. That definition was made by the WHO. So that we already studied. Then infectious disease, non-infectious diseases, communicable disease, or what kind of the type of disease, that already completed. Then we move toward the pathogen, the causal organism of that particular disease. And we already know that every time there is a no pathogen, there is a sometimes the disease is mainly due to some another factors also. But before that we already studied the pathogen, various kinds of pathogen. Fungi are pathogen, bacteria are pathogen, viruses are pathogen, then the worms are pathogen, protozoans are pathogen, and that we categorize all the disease. Similarly, there are some diseases which are not due to the pathogen, due to some abnormality or excess or less secretion of hormones or some kind of that kind of substances. Some diseases may due to accidents, fractures like that. So all that we already studied. And in last part, we focused only on the how the disease will spread. Disease can spread through the air, through the water, through the contaminated food, through the contacts, or even through some sharing some certain substances. And I really emphasized or focused on that part related with that particular corona. I already discussed about all that things. And in last lecture, we already completed the severity of that particular diseases. I explained that the severity mainly depends upon certain factors. Number of pathogen is there, amount of antigen is there, and third one is the role of immunity is there. So up to that we already completed all these parts regarding that the why do we fall ill. Now if we have disease, then doctor will diagnose. They will ask us, or they may take us some test and confirm this one is the disease, because there are some common symptoms. For example, fever. Fever is the symptom of even though malaria, typhoid, cholera, even though, or in the hepatitis, or even though AIDS, or nowadays the COVID. Then how we can specify that particular disease? The physicians or doctor will take the more test. They are called a laboratory test. They take the blood sample, they collect the blood sample, or even they collect the urine sample, or whatever they want related with that disease. They collect it, send to that particular laboratory, and that laboratory test report will confirm that this is the infection, this is the disease. Okay. Now, if anyone has that kind of particular disease, then second part or the challenge to that next is how to control, how to cure the disease, and that we are going to study today, and that is principles of the treatment. So physicians or doctor more focused on, once they focused on the pathogen, when they confirm on the disease, their second line of the thinking is that how to treat it. They generally follow two principles of the treatment. First principle is to reduce the effect of disease. To reduce the effect of a disease, and second one is called as the to kill the cause of disease. So physicians generally focused or follow these two principles to cure disease completely. I am talking about the disease which are caused by the pathogen. Okay. They want to first they start to reduce the effect of disease, and second they kill the pathogen, because this is the part will reduce the only symptoms. Suppose there is some kind of pain is there, okay, due to some infection, then they give us just painkiller that will reduce the pain, but it is not, the painkiller is not responsible to kill the pathogen, the cause is remain as it is, and so they use the second way, that is they kill the causal organism. Now we will study one by one. First we focus on the how to reduce the effect. So when we feel that we have some diseases, sometimes we when follow or take proper rest, then by simply doing that disease can be cured, but it happens in some time. But sometime this bed rest or this rest is not useful, because the severity of the pathogen, amount of antigen is more. So bed rest, no, bed rest is effective to reduce the effect. What happens during the bed rest? When you are taking complete bed rest, you are conserving your energy, and that energy useful to build up your immunity, and that immunity will fight with the disease. And so in most of the that particular acute diseases, or sometime in the chronic disease also, bed rest, complete bed rest is followed. Now think about again this corona situation. What happens in this corona situation? Generally when any person is detected positive, he or she is isolated. They're sent to that isolation ward where there is a complete bed rest. During that rest, they are taking proper diet. Okay, they are taking even the medicine also. But that rest, that complete bed rest will conserve their energy. And that energy is useful to build up immunity and fight that particular disease. So this one is the first part, that is bed rest is there, and that bed rest will conserve the energy, and so this one is the disease first line, that is reduce the effect. Similarly, if there is a fever, then doctors sometimes treat that, give that particular paracetamol tablet to reduce the temperature. This is the effect. Or even though when there is a high temperature, doctors will tell us that take the cloths and put into the cold water and clean the body with that particular thing, so that the temperature of the body will be minimized. This is also effect done by the doctors or us even to reduce the effect. So this is the first part, that we can reduce the effect of any that particular diseases. But these methods, that is only reducing effect of that particular disease, not a complete solution, because still pathogen is in the body, and so to eradicate complete destruction of disease, we have to kill that particular pathogen. And in that sense, doctors or physicians will suggest some medicines. Usually these medicines are the substances which kill that pathogen. How these medicines are suggested to us? These medicines are suggested to us according to the nature of pathogen. We already know that bacteria is pathogen, fungi are pathogen, viruses are pathogen, even though that particular worms are pathogen, or even though there are some protozoans. Now these five organisms, these five causal organisms are specific. They have their own specific life process. They have their own mechanism to synthesize new substance required for them. For example, bacteria will follow different life process, different processes to synthesize their own substances. Okay, but that is not case with virus, because viruses have very few life process, very few their own mechanism. Generally they enters into the cells of another organism, hire their machinery and synthesize. That is again different for fungi. Fungi, they follow different mechanism which are shown in bacteria and virus. That is same for virus and that is same for pathogen, that is protozoa. We must clear that all the pathogens followed some different mechanism. We human, we are following some different mechanisms. So doctor or the physicians will target to kill the pathogen, means they are going to block that particular mechanism, that particular process which synthesize new substance. That way they can multiply. For example, when there is a pathogen like the bacteria or the fungi, doctors simply suggest us the antibiotics. What is the antibiotics? Antibiotics are the substances which directly affect on the cell wall synthesis. Bacteria and fungi, these are the organisms are with their own cell wall. They manufacture their own cell wall. They can manufacture the material required for their own cell wall, then cell wall is constructed. But when bacteria or fungi enters into our body, doctor suggests to take us the antibiotic. Antibiotic will first harm the cell wall formation process of these two. And so, no cell wall formation takes place in the bacteria or fungi. That is, the cell wall is the protective shield of that particular organism. If it will not form, then the organism will not survive, new organisms will not survive, population of that organism in our body will not be increased. So this is the antibiotic, role of antibiotic. But that is not case with virus. Why? Because most of virus will enters into our cell, the host cell. They hire the machinery and synthesize their own material. But at that time we are not able to use the antibiotics, because antibiotics will kill only the cell wall formation process, or sometimes they enters into the DNA of that particular virus or fungi, destroy it, but they are unable to do the same for the viruses. And so we are unable to use the antibiotics against the viral infections. There are some different mechanisms or different substances which we can use. That is same for the worms and that is same for protozoans also. So use of that particular substance, for example, and substances like antibiotics, it is practically usable to kill that pathogen, so that the pathogen will be completely destroyed from our body and we get 100% cover. So this is the second modus operandi, the treatment, that is to kill the cause of that particular disease. Second, it is generally believe that or practice that, or we feel that making medicine against bacteria is very simple rather than making a medicine than against the virus. Think about the HIV. Okay, HIV is a viral infection that is the determiner, or that is the known as AIDS. Till today we are unable to synthesize the proper medicine on the HIV AIDS. Why? because this is a viral infection, viral disease. This enters into our WBC, which are the fight soldiers of our body. They destroy these fight soldiers so that we have minimized our immunity. At that time, secondary infection will take place on our body, and due to that infection, that patient may or might follow the death, because this virus, HIV virus, enters into WBC, which are fight soldiers of our body. So we are unable to synthesize antibody, and if there is no antibody, then there is no cure. Okay, so when we are reducing taking medicines, means for example, think about that we are infected with the pneumonia. Okay, pneumonia is a bacterial disease. Okay, what are the symptoms? Cough is there. Okay, then a problem for breathing is there. Temperature is there. So when diagnosed, when this pathogen, when this physicians or doctor diagnose that this patient is of the particular pneumonia, what are they are following a line of treatment? They first want to reduce the effect. They are giving some cough medicine so that the cough will be released, and that pain or that symptom will be minimized. Second, they are suggesting some paracetamol tablets so as the temperature of body will be near about 37, and at the same time they are suggesting taking particular antibiotics. So this is called as the principles of treatment. Then what happens in this viral infection? Usually till today there are no proper medicines on the viruses. And why the government or that NGOs or World Health Organization is going to develop the vaccine? Vaccine is totally different part. Vaccine is different. Vaccine is just creating the antibodies, training your body to form antibody. That is totally separate. Now, what is the today's vaccine which we are going to taking in we are going to take ready to take in next 3 to 4 months? That is the vaccine. Vaccine is totally different from this one. Actually, vaccine comes under the preventive measures. If we take it, we have very less chances or no chances of infection of that particular disease. What are the vaccines? Vaccines are nothing but a training program to our body by introducing minor pathogens or less amount of antigens, so as our antibody will work, our immunity will work, antibody will form. Which type of antibody will be formed, that is permanently recorded in our WBC, that is vaccine. Okay, so this is also done, but that is a preventive measure. That is not a proper treatment. That is not a way of treatment. So this is the principles of treatment. These are the two parts. First, you have to reduce the effect, and second, you have to kill the cause. Okay, thank you everyone.